Trump tried to send the National Guard into Portland. His own judge just told him, "You can't." In a 106-page ruling, she called it an unlawful power grab. A president overruled a state that stood its ground. How far can power go before the law says no? A federal judge in Oregon has delivered a significant blow to US President Donald Trump's authority, permanently blocking his attempt to deploy National Guard troops to Portland. Judge Karin Immergut issued a 106-page ruling on November 7th, finding that the president exceeded his constitutional powers when he attempted to federalize military forces. The decision marks the first permanent injunction against Trump's controversial use of military personnel in American cities.
Even giving great deference to the president's determination, the president did not have a lawful basis to federalize the National Guard.
Immergut, whom Trump himself appointed to the federal bench during his first term, ruled that conditions in Portland failed to meet the legal threshold required for military intervention. She found that protests near Portland's Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility were predominantly peaceful, with only isolated and sporadic instances of relatively low-level violence. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield described the decision as a huge victory for his state, whilst Governor Tina Kotek demanded that all federalized troops return home immediately.
Today's ruling is a huge victory for Oregon. The courts are holding this administration accountable to the truth and the rule of law. From the beginning, this case has been about making sure that facts, not political whims, guide how the law is applied. Today's decision protects that principle.
The ruling extends beyond Oregon. Similar legal challenges have emerged in Chicago, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C., where Trump has attempted to deploy troops under the same emergency authority. 3 federal judges have now issued preliminary rulings against these deployments, creating a nationwide pattern of judicial resistance. The legal battle began in late September when Trump authorized what he called necessary troops to protect a so-called war ravaged Portland. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth mobilized 200 Oregon National Guard members following nightly protests outside an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in the city's South Waterfront neighborhood. The government claimed protesters constituted a rebellion against federal authority, citing a single night in June when Portland police declared a riot. Immergut found that violent incidents quickly abated and protests remained predominantly peaceful, with only isolated instances of relatively low-level violence. The judge noted that most altercations occurred between protesters and counter-protesters rather than against federal officers. Portland police supervisors testified that federal officers used disparate and unnecessary force, firing tear gas and pepper balls at largely non-violent demonstrators. Local police spent nearly $900,000 in overtime costs monitoring the situation between October 1st and 20th. Immergut found Trump's actions violated both federal statute and the 10th Amendment, which reserves powers to states not expressly granted to the federal government. The ruling also blocked 200 California National Guard troops and up to 400 Texas Guard members from deploying to Oregon, finding that out-of-state military presence represented an injury to Oregon's sovereignty.
The nation's founders embodied their profound fear and distrust of military power in the Constitution and its amendments, which has lived on through the decades as a traditional and strong resistance of Americans to any military intrusion into civilian affairs.
The Trump administration attempted to circumvent initial restraining orders by flying in California troops hours after Immergut's first decision. The judge expressed deep concern that 9 Oregon Guard members remained at the ICE facility for 7 hours after her order took effect, stating she retains authority to find the government in contempt.